Good evening, folks. My name is Ron Garriques, and as president of the Boston University Alumni Council, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 59th Annual Alumni Awards Ceremony. As a graduating high school student who spent 13 years doing speech class and was going on to be an engineer, my high school guidance counselor said to me, "Speak in complete sentences. It proves that you can." So I will do my best tonight. We have a wonderful evening planned where we'll honor 6 very impressive alumni with distinguished alumni awards and 1 young alumna with our Young Alumni Award. Before we do this, I would like to ask Rabbi Joseph Pollack, Director of Hillel House at Boston University, to deliver the invocation. Folks, can we see if we can get started again, please? Excuse me, folks, can we get started again, please? The new Boston University Alumni Council is a dynamic group of nearly 40 alumni spanning 5 decades of BU history. They hail from each of our schools and colleges and live all over the country, as well as Canada, Switzerland, and Hong Kong. These individuals, which I'm proud to be part of, have busy lives as business people, doctors, lawyers, social workers, retired university presidents, media personalities, and I could go on and on. But most importantly, we're representing an alumni constituency of more than 250,000 people. Each one of the 40th of us do this for a reason. Me personally, I grew up in Texas, and I was actually on my way to the University of Texas in Austin. Dr. Silver and Dr. Brown would have been a proud additional alum. My senior year of high school, I took a National Society of Professional Engineering exam and got a full scholarship from the National Society of Professional Engineers. And had really never thought about it because I was going to the University of Texas, graduated in the top 10% of my class, and didn't really need a scholarship. On my 18th birthday, I was stabbed 5 times and spent a significant period of time in intensive care and didn't really get back to being able to make decisions until June of that year, okay? My mom, a young mom at the time, 35 years old, called all of the universities, okay, to see who would still honor a scholarship so late, okay, in the admission cycle. And Boston University was that university who said, we'd love to have you, okay? That's my decision, okay? That's my decision of why I came to Boston University. And it only reconfirms, okay, when I see Boston University make decisions like they made for all of the students that were affected by Hurricane Katrina, okay, to come here. That's the reason I came. That's the reason they'll think great about us. And hopefully for the next 100 years, that's the way people will think about Boston University. I'd like my fellow council members to rise and be recognized because they've made the same decision to support the BU Alumni Council. Folks. Since 1946, 338 alumni have received the Distinguished Alumni Award. Some of them are here this evening. And I'd like to take a second opportunity to recognize them. Will all former Boston University Alumni Award recipients please stand and be recognized? I mentioned previously that our alumni organization has gone through a transformation process. Well, in fact, our alma mater has done the same. Just 4 months ago, Dr. Robert Brown began his tenure at the Boston University. We are very fortunate to have found a distinguished leader, an academician just a few miles across the river, to set the course of direction for this very diverse, multifaceted community. Being a marketing guy in general, Dr. Chobanian sat across from me and said, you know, Ron, you're relatively new to this, and I've been doing this a really long time. And I know that they want you to introduce Dr. Brown after dinner, okay? Let me give you a little thing. Get him in before, okay? Get him in before he can talk, and then he can drink, okay? And, all right. So, fine, that's what I went ahead and did, all right? Now, the other thing I found out about academia is there's meeting notes for everything. Okay, and there's a secretary. And in our case, for the BUAC, it's Charlie Lax. So what I want to go on record in, okay, in my first official duty, okay, underneath Dr. Brown, is I tried to get him on before dinner. The process caught me, and it has to come on after dinner. But I did try. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our 10th president, Bob Brown.
Thank you, Ron. For some of you know that Bev and I came back from Singapore last night on the overnight. So the question is before dinner or before bed. But I hope to be coherent. I want to thank everyone for coming this evening and helping us celebrate the accomplishments of some of our most outstanding alumni for their contributions to society and for their contributions to Boston University. I also want to thank Ron for serving as the host and master of ceremonies of this event and for his ongoing leadership of the BU Alumni Council. Ron? And to the other members of the Alumni Council, who are with us this evening, I really appreciate your support of this event and for all the work you're doing for Boston University. As Ron said it, you represent 250,000 alumni of this university, and you represent them well. During my first 5 months in the position as president of Boston University, I've spent a lot of time walking around campus and talking to people on both the Charles River campus and at the medical school. And I've met an incredibly wonderful faculty and learned a lot about the marvelous programs of the university. I've spent time talking with alumni, both on campus and at meetings across the United States and now outside the borders of our country. I've learned several important things that are probably obvious to you, but I'd like to emphasize them. First and foremost, Boston University is a great private university in a great urban setting. I think we all know how to measure the quality of the university. We measure it through the quality of our faculty, the students that come here, the breadth and vitality of our educational programs. We offer an incredible blend of a liberal arts education for undergraduates, coupled with the professional programs at the undergraduate level and the graduate level. We offer our undergraduates really the best of both worlds, studying humanities, science, social science with dedicated faculty, and at the same time focusing on professional programs that lead them out into the world to do a far-ranging number of things, ranging from fine arts, engineering, communications, and management. And we do this today more than ever in a residential campus setting. 75% of our students live on our campus today. And they walk out of their dorms and they walk out onto Commonwealth Avenue. And they're in a great city, the great city of Boston. The second and probably the most significant measure of a great university is the quality of what happens with the product, you, the alumni. Today's honorees, each is a remarkable person in his or her own right and represent this institution at its finest in terms of the impact of this institution on the world and society. All around the room tonight, when I listen to the conversation and I sense the energy in the room, I sense the greatness of Boston University. I know I can look forward to working with you all to help build an ever stronger institution. And I asked you to do just several things as we leave tonight. First, I asked you to tell a friend. All of you know, because of your network of alumni, you know other people from the university. Remind them about the greatness of the institution that they graduated from. Remind them of the energy at BU. And ask them to come back and engage with us. Finally, I want to offer my congratulations to the honorees tonight and thank you all for coming. And I look forward to the ceremony that follows. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. 9 years ago, Boston University began an annual tradition. Am I on the right page? Yes, good. Of honoring a young alumnus considered to be a graduate of the last 15 years, who brings honor to Boston University through their personal and professional achievements, their character, and their support of the university. This award was traditionally presented during homecoming weekend as a special young alumni event. This year, the Alumni Awards Committee, comprised of university administrators and alumni council members, made a decision to incorporate this young alumni category in our university-wide ceremony. Just 17 alumni have been honored with our Young Alumni Award. Will all former Young Alumni Award winners please stand and be recognized? Okay, you know, there you go. Yes! I'm gonna work a little closer with you in the future. The 2005 Young Alumni Award winner is Jacqueline Enterman. Okay. What did you do with me? Where? Yeah, okay. You didn't give me the reading. You didn't give it to me. There you go. They're hiding paperwork on me now. Give me 1 second, Jacqueline. You and your father have quickly become leaders in an industry once viewed as impossible. The production of excellent wine from New York-grown European grapes. Your Long Island vineyard, barely 10 years old, is already releasing red, white, and dessert wines that earn excellent reviews, wins medals, and perhaps most impressive, are being taken seriously by California wine writers and buyers. A knack for successful family business may be the product of heredity or environment. For one thing, you have the eye for packaging demonstrated by your grandmother's namesake of your Martha Claird vineyards. Just as she added a large window to the top of the traditional white bakery box so that grocery store customers would be tempted by the cakes inside, your sometimes unconventional labels and bottles attract reviewers as well as buyers. And along with building the family business, you promote the Long Island wine region, serving on local and state wine boards and hosting imaginative public spirit events. Looking forward to the continued growth of this most recent Enterman family undertaking, we present the Boston University Young Alumni Award. Congratulations.
BU has played such an important role in my life, and it continues to do so through events like this. This is such an honor for me, I can't even begin to describe it, and through all the friendships that I have maintained throughout the years. I was trying to think of something witty to sum up my education at BU, and I was reminded of a class that I took at the School of Communication entitled Crisis Communication. And the first day of class, our professor walked in, checked out the students, took one look at us and said, I want you to remember one thing this semester. Just take home this message with you. That's all you have to remember. The first rule of crisis communication, make your friends before you need them. And I have to say that that's taken me a long way in my work in politics and in my work at the winery. And I have to thank that professor wherever he is today. And I would also like to thank Boston University for bestowing this honor upon me. I am truly touched and humbled. Thank you.
The Distinguished Alumni Award honors alumni that have demonstrated significant professional, civic, or university leadership. Boston University's Distinguished Alumni Award is the institution's highest non-degree honor bestowed upon graduates. Our former award winners are an impressive group. A complete list is included in your program. Tonight's honorees are also an exceptional group. So without further ado, I'd like to ask Council Member Steve Carbank to escort Mr. Bruce Feierstein to the podium.
All right, Bruce. What happens now?
Bruce Feierstein, Boston University is proud when a distinguished career began here. And so it is particular pleasure on an occasion such as this to announce that perhaps your first public recognition came in 1973, when fellow students hanged and burned you in effigy. You had suggested in the Daily Free Press that students' demonstrations against university policies, once fueled political passion, had deteriorated into a fashionable alternative to attending class. An even-handed critic, you also poked fun at the administration. The problems with BU's fundraising, you pointed out in another free piece, was evidenced when the West Campus dorms were named for the university's founders, all dead. You said, couldn't we have found someone who was breathing? You wrote, and with a significant amount of cash. Such sharp-eyed wit characterized your magazine and newspaper writings. It made your first book a year-long bestseller, finding fun in the then fashionable strident opposition to feminism, and proving that one's standing as a real man is not threatened by eating trendy food. And it is integral to the scripts for the 3 latest James Bond films, true to the romantic, wry Bond, spirited but updated. One of those traditional wet t-shirts is worn, and well, by a nuclear scientist, for example, and Dame Judi Dench plays a feminist M who earns Bond's reluctant respect. And so we look forward to your film version of the A-Team. You are not apt to forget, as later TV writers seem to, that the show began as a contemporary humorous take on superhero shows. We thank you for sharing keys to your success with the College of Communication students as a speaker, a facilitator, and a sponsor of the West Coast Internship Program, and a founder of the Scholarship for Writing Students. With appreciation and admiration, we present this Boston University Alumnus Award.
Photo op. Well, he took my best lines. Thank you. When I first got the phone call about getting this award a couple months ago, I initially had 2 immediate reactions. And the first was to step into the tuxedo of my sometime alter ego, James Bond, and say, I will have a vodka martini. Because while I am shaken, I am also incredibly stirred. The second... Have I used that before? The second thought I had, actually, was to think about one of my heroes in journalism, who was Jimmy Breslin, who was running for mayor of New York. And when I looked at the extraordinary accomplishments of the other honorees tonight, Breslin's words came back to me, which was, when he was running for mayor of New York, they said, should you win, what will you do? He said, the first thing I'm going to do is demand a recount. So here I am. When I first came to this school, when I first came here, I was one of those kids who was lost. I didn't know what I was going to do or what I would be. In fact, at the time, my parents strongly suggested I consider investigating a career in the interstate trucking business, behind the wheel of a large truck. And yet, the truth of the matter is that it is on these streets and in these classrooms that I found myself. You hear a lump in my voice, it's the weather. It was in these classrooms that I found myself. It was on these streets and in this campus that I made my lifelong friends. And it was on these streets and in these classrooms where I was lucky enough to have professors who not only encouraged me to succeed, but also gave me the room to fail. And of course, here, as you have heard before, is the place I received my first sense of the audience, which was when I was hung and burnt in effigy on Cummington Street. And the thing is that the real truth of what happened was that it was after the Vietnam War, and they were kind of protesting for the sake of protesting, and they would march up Bay State Road saying, all Bay State Road must go communist. And I just thought, it's like, okay, we'll have a revolution, we'll meet 9:30 at the Student Union, we'll have coffee, we'll issue the usual non-negotiable demands, and like, if I'm not there, start without me. That night, I was hung and burnt in effigy on Cummington Street. In the movie business, we have an expression which is, the audience never lies. But on that night, I remember watching it, and thinking to myself, I might have a career here. And here we are. Let me finish tonight by saying this. If I look back on my alleged accomplishments, one of the things I am most proud of after my children is a scholarship fund I started at this school a couple years ago. A scholarship fund based on merit and need for a young writer. I am preaching to the choir here tonight, I know. But it is called paying it forward. It is trying to pay back a debt that we can never repay. And that is what I had tried to do. And while I am here tonight, there is another debt that I need to repay, which is to my father. He is a man who, with my mother, worked selflessly and tirelessly to put me through this school and give me the opportunity to be here. And never once did he ever ask to have it paid back. Dad, thank you. I will also point out that whoever said real men don't get sentimental did not know what he was talking about. So finally, let me say thank you. I am not so much shaken and I am not so much stirred, but I am truly, truly deeply honored tonight. Thank you very much.
At this time, could Council Member David Hollowell escort Dr. John Howe to the podium? Your importance in shaping the University of Massachusetts School of Medicine back your medical career was both young, prefigured, and your achievements as president of the University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio. Under your 15-year leadership, the center raised $250 million in contributions, quadrupled research funding, and increased the endowment 11-fold, becoming the primary force as bioscience-led recovery of the city's faltering economy. But the real significance of those remarkable figures cannot be quantified. The lives saved and improved by the center's work in biotechnology, geriatrics, organ transplantation, and imaging, by research in pediatric care, diabetes, and heart disease, by clinical and educational services at the southern border and in Mexico, and by the ongoing generations of graduates of the center's medical, dental, allied health, nursing, and graduate schools. With the growth of the center now assured, you took your leadership global, President and CEO of Project Hope. You oversee undertakings on 5 continents, including ours, often regions virtually untouched by modern medicine. Traveling constantly, you meet with heads of state, their governments, corporate leaders, health agencies, and private programs, assessing needs and possibilities, informing, inspiring, and persuading, building programs that are saving lives, and establishing sustainable clinical and educational services in some 25 nations. Hardworking, widely knowledgeable, compassionate, creative, at once focused and farsighted. You embody medicine's highest principles. We thank you for your wise service on the School of Public Health Board of Visitors, and we proudly present the Boston University Alumnus Award.
Bob and Beverly, some may think that The only reason I'm at the podium is because I'm from San Antonio. And it is true that 2 out of the last 3 presidents of Boston University come from San Antonio, Texas. But I'm at the podium for a different reason. 37 years ago, Jasmine and Aram invited me to dinner on a Sunday night. I just finished my 3rd-year rotation in medicine. At that point in time, there were 2 priorities for medical students. One is learning, and I was advantaged by that with Aram, who was my attending. And the second was food. And Jasmine addressed that. And then went on in subsequent rotation to surgery. And Barry was my teacher there. There was a common theme, and that was, John, with a BU education, you can make a difference. You can make a difference. And I wish certain people that I've had the privilege, as a result of my BU education, could be here tonight. One of them asked me to come meet with him 3 years ago, just before he stepped down as president. He had been mayor of one of the largest cities in the world, Shanghai. And he recognized that there are a lot of children born in China. They're blue babies and no place to get their hearts fixed. And he came to us and said, we need to do something about that. Would you partner with us to the city and create a children's hospital? And we did, and it opened in 1998, the Shanghai Children's Medical Center. The mayor went on to become president. It was Jiang Zemin that invited me to come visit with him in Beijing. And he said, what I want to do is I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you for what you all did for the children of China. About a year ago, the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Clark, called me, and he said, I have a novel idea. We haven't met, but let me tell you about it. We've had the tsunami in Indonesia, one of the world's most tragic events. What's not novel is sending the big white Navy hospital ship to Banda Aceh. What's not novel, have it be a humanitarian mission. But what is novel is it's never been done in the history of the United States. Have it entirely staffed by volunteer American physicians and nurses. He said, I want you to lead that. 4,000 nurses and doctors from all across the country volunteered for the 210 positions. It was 2 months later the ship was on its way home when in the middle of the night, Terrell and I got a call from the ambassador to Indonesia in Jakarta saying, I'm sending a cable for morning review. Before I do, and the president receives it, I need to ask for your help. I want to ask him to turn the ship around because there's been a second earthquake near this island and we desperately need medical help. Will you help? We say, for sure. When the ship finally came home, those 210 volunteer Americans had taken care of 49,500 patients. And a poll that was done a year ago, that before the tsunami, when in the largest Muslim country in the world, population of 210 million people, and they asked, how do you think about Americans? This was 2 months before the tsunami. Less than 20% said favorably. After the ship came home, the poll was repeated. 65% said favorably. And I would just say, I wish little Ali could be here. Twice in the past year and a half, I've visited Baghdad and Basra and seen the little children, and they didn't volunteer to be born in Iraq or southern Iraq. But in that region, the prevalence of childhood leukemia is 10 times what it is in the rest of the world. And yet they don't have the medicines, the doctors don't have the training because they're cut off. And we were asked to create a children's hospital for children with cancer. And that hospital has 523 workers on site today. It's the 1/3 complete. It'll open in October. And the hope is that 5 years from now, when the things are quieter, there'll be a president of Iraq that will call and say, come visit so I can thank you on behalf of the children. So I want to go back to that evening, that Sunday evening with you, Jasmine and Aram, or the awards with you, Barry. You told me you could make a difference. And as a result of that, and with that inspiration, and with that Boston University education, I've been privileged to be in positions where I, among many, can make a difference. Thank you, Boston University.
council member, Charlie Lax, please escort Ms. Janine Rivet to the podium. Medical advances and and I actually practice this one, okay? Medical advances and the complexities of health service. I'm an engineer. You got to work with me on these things. Create a thicket of possibilities and paperwork, separating patients from their doctors, even from a sense of themselves. Your years as a nurse inform your escalating career in the administration of managed care. As federal legislation enabled the growth of HMOs, as Medicare became more vital and more convoluted, you moved from running clinical programs to business operations in local and then national companies. Now that you are Executive Vice President of United Health Group, one of the world's 150 largest companies of any sort, your portfolio has expanded to contain areas from product and service development to government regulations to public relations. But you retain your nurse's perspective, your concern with individuals, their interaction with their doctors, and their ability to take informed, thoughtful responsibility for their own health. Along with diagnosis and treatment, technology is strengthening record keeping and access of information. The highest ranking woman in what Fortune rates the most admired healthcare company, you nourish advances at once high-tech and humane, accessible and affordable. Grateful that you have taken on the responsibilities of Vice Chair of the School of Public Health of Visitors, we present the Boston University Alumni Award. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dean Meenan, for nominating me, and thank you to the alumni for this prestigious award. It is a humbling moment as I look through the program and listen to all of the wonderful achievements of my noted colleagues. I was thinking about my remarks for this evening, and I was thinking about how many D's we have in our life. Desire, which starts a path for us. Direction, which I believe Boston University gave many of us, as we've heard. Dedication, sticking to our core purposes, as was stated in many of the presentations, our destiny, and memorializing our dash. Albert Schweitzer, the French medical missionary, stated that he looked back upon his youth, and I can say that now as I'm aging, I've looked back upon my youth and realized how so many people gave him help, understanding, and courage that he never knew. They entered his life and became powers in his life, powers within him. My graduate school experience at the Boston University School of Public Health was a similar experience as I reflect back. Many people gave me help, understanding, courage, expanded my knowledge base, and gave me direction. They allowed me to really think about what I wanted to do and expand the opportunities for me. This directions, the powers shared, the powers given to me, combined with my desire and passion to improve people's experiences both with the very complex healthcare system and ever-changing healthcare system, and to help improve their health status, has been my destiny. That's what I've been doing for many years and continue to do, and do it with a passion. The last D that I mentioned is the dash, and I believe that's what we're all recognizing this evening, and I'd like to read a poem written by Linda Ellis called The Dash. I read of a man who stood to speak at a funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on his tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that the first came the date of his birth, and spoke the following date with tears. But he said mattered most was the dash between the years. For the dash represents all the time he spent here on earth, and now only those who loved him know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So when your eulogy's being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? And on behalf of the many who have the same destiny as I have and the many colleagues here, I thank you for this recognition and recognizing my dash.
Will Council Member Kaipo Schwab please escort Ms. Nina Tasler to the podium? Ascending into the top reaches of television management, you have never lost sight of the basic dramatic principles you absorbed at the College of Fine Arts. You know good theater is the collaboration of artists, from writers to producers, and directors to designers and actors. And you know that no matter how clever the concept and the lines, how sexy the celebrity actors, how spectacular the effects, audience, at live performances or sitting in their living rooms, respond to character. And that, for instance, Superman's viewership will include more than pre-adolescent and grown-up boys when Lois Lane gets his love in return along with equal billing. Networks multiply, spreading both talent and audience attention thinner and thinner. Nearly every movie worth remembering, and many that are not, are even closer than our own mailboxes. Holding fast to artistic standards and commercial practicalities become more difficult and more vital. CBS entertainment programming wins the rating wars, demonstrating your hands-on knowledge of theater's components, your eye on the market, your sense of what attracts and holds the audience, increasingly apt to fragment, and your talent for cultivating creativity at every step from concept development through production. Formula shows come and go. The series that you have overseen are the real survivors. Appreciating the entertainment you give us, and we are grateful for your continuing association with the College of Fine Arts and your service on the university's Board of Overseers. We present this Boston University Alumni Award.
I was trained as an actress, so I'm better with a text. Thank you, Ron, Boston University Alumni Council, and Dr. Brown. It is such a privilege to be here. This is indeed an evening I shall remember for my whole life. I cannot find the words to express the gratitude I feel to Walt Meisner and the indomitable Judy Flynn, without whose support I never would have been able to complete my education. Thank you, Judy. I knew the day I received my acceptance letter from Boston University, the world was about to change. I was in the middle of a rehearsal of a high school play when my parents showed up at the back of the auditorium with an envelope in their hands. Months before, my father and I had flown to Boston so I could audition for the theater school at the College of Fine Arts. I sang, danced, and acted my heart out as my father sat patiently on the first floor waiting for me to finish. I wanted to be an acting student in this theater department more than anything in the world. And so it came to pass. I spent 4 extraordinary, inspiring, challenging, and stimulating years here. I am grateful for every minute. I am grateful to the teachers who introduced me to discipline. I am grateful to the professors who taught me to open my eyes, my heart, and my soul to the creative influence that surround us. I am grateful to the lifelong friendships that began here and remain a vital part of my life today. I met my husband here. I was trained to be a student of the theater for life. The most extraordinary part of my education at Boston University is that it prepared me for the shock of a lifetime. I would never have a career as an actress. Instead, I would take the wealth of knowledge I had accumulated here and parlay it into a career in television. The hundreds of plays I read during the course of my time here, the countless hours spent rehearsing, and the thrill of working in a professional environment all translated perfectly to the work I've been doing in television for 20 years. Let me say one thing. We live in interesting times. The technological explosion has taken the broadcast television world by storm. However, through it all, the mantra we hear is content is king. In other words, the voice of the artist, the storyteller, and the creator are still the most important part of everything we do. Thanks to the gift of my Boston University education, the still small voice of the artist resides inside me, and so do the values and the contributions that artists make to the exciting and evolving state of the broadcast television business. My connection to BU is profound. It defines who I am. When I became a student at Boston University, the commitment I made was not just a 4-year term, but lifelong. Thank you so much.
Will Council Member Ed Westerman please escort Mr. Oscar Wasserman to the podium? Your success in multiple overlapping careers in accounting, law, banking, real estate, hotel management, consulting, investment, even recently owning and overseeing a coffee cake company, demonstrates your multiple abilities and your simple hard work. Your service to professional, educational, religious, and civic organizations exemplifies your public spirit. How fortunate for us that you are a Boston area boy, born, bred, and forever with 3 Boston University degrees. Quietly loyal to the School of Law, over the decades, you have volunteered your abilities and energies in roles ranging from frequent phone-a-thon caller and class agent to long-term member of the Board of Visitors in the Alumni Association Executive Committee. Our magnificent Florence and Shabbat's Hillel House is a monument to your skills and dedication. From that first meeting called a decade ago to consider how to accommodate the expanding programs of Boston University's Hillel, your varied professional expertise so freely shared in your leadership, reality-grounded vision, tenacity, and inspiring optimism advanced the effort that rejected stopgap renovations of the old building and conceived of a new home for Hillel, then obtaining the funding, planned, and oversaw construction of this remarkable structure. Oscar Wasserman, Triple Terrier, our good friend and benefactor, we proudly present this Boston University Alumni Award. Congratulations.
I thought it was going to be Mr. Wasserman presenting Mr. Westerman, but I wasn't sure how that was going to work out. Maybe someday. You know, a lot of friends, and it's really nice seeing people here, former president, and, you know, I congratulate President Brown. They say, you know, how come you're always smiling? What is it so good about everything? And I said, very simple. I said, I wake up in the morning and I put my left arm out here. I put my right arm out here. If I don't feel wood on either side, I know I'm going to be a pretty good kid. But it's really, well, that's better than reading the obituaries in the morning to make sure your name isn't there. But I think that the real reason is the way I was brought up, and that is when you do things for other people, you're going to find out that you're going to feel pretty good about yourself. And that's where the beginning comes, and it's, you know, it just goes on with Boston University. I personally am so thankful and so fortunate for having been involved with Boston University in so many aspects of the college. And when I walk down Bay State Road and I look at the new Hillel House, and with all of the individuals who have helped in this endeavor, I say, you know, that really is something. First of all, I invite everybody to attend because it's just a gorgeous building. It's a lot of love that went into that building. And there is one part of the university that many people don't deal with, and that is the development people with Chris Reese, who was so helpful in making sure that this would become a reality. It's really nice having been brought up the way I was, where a father, didn't know him very long, 14 years, but he taught me, develop your mind and develop your body, and one will help the other. And this has sort of been my life over the years, and being at the age that I am, I feel very lucky and very fortunate. But the things that have happened subsequent to those years are the things that happened at Boston University that just gave me the love for education. And it just caused me to look at a bigger picture, the picture that is well beyond myself. And I try to sum up some of this, and I wrote out, I hope that I have it in my pocket because I don't want to make a mistake. And I said, and I'll tell you what, get a little bit older, you may have to wear glasses. So I'll try that too. So I said, and I wrote this out, and I said, the thing is to do, and then you will try to understand. You study all, then you interact. It is continuous, endless. The invitation is always there. And being with Boston University and the various schools with which I have attended, I find that I've learned an awful lot. I've yet to learn, and my history with the school will be non-ending. I thank you very much for the award.
Will Council Member Marcia Harriman please escort Dr. Lawrence Iannuzzi to the podium? Dr. Iannuzzi, you are a man of great accomplishments. You earned an honorary doctorate from the University of Ancona, Bologna in 2004, the Arthur Bell Retinal Award in 2005, the Michelson Retinal Research Award in 2005, and a Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Academy of Ophthalmology in 2005. Your research saves eyesight that would have been lost to retinal disease. Your pioneering use of angiography led to development of the test now central to the diagnosis and management of diabetic and related eye diseases. Work with lasers and anti-inflammatory agents initiated the evolution of other vital diagnostics and treatment techniques. And you were the first to recognize and characterize a disorder so important that in the early days it might have been named the Iannuzzi disease to honor your contribution.
Just an engineer.
You are equally creative and productive administrator. Founder and head of the Lewester T. Mertz Retinal Research Center at the Manhattan Eye, Ear, and Throat Hospital, and of the Vitreous Retina Macula Consultants of New York. You led elite physicians and scientists in providing the best available care while continuing research. And since you founded it 28 years ago, the Macula Foundation has provided millions of dollars in support of research whose high success rate proves the excellence of the selection process. Generous with your time, you are an inspiring teacher and mentor of medical residents and fellows. Through textbooks and articles and in more than 80 significant visiting professorships and lectureships and editorships and other significant roles at 20 professional journals. The School of Medicine benefits from your research support, both financial and personal, your loyal participation in alumni events, and now your service on its Board of Visitors. We are proud to join the stunning array of organizations worldwide that have honored you by presenting this Boston University Alumnus Award.
Okay, thank you. Oh, picture.
After all, he is the engineer.
Thank you, Ron. I should begin by just saying, on behalf of all of us, you run a great party, you and the BUAC. I don't really have a prepared speech, but there are two things I'd like to say, and I'll begin by saying I am also humbled by being among all of these other distinguished honorees, and I will award an Oscar for his speech because he said everything I think everyone else wanted to about the university. But my experience, and I guess an award like this, makes one want to reflect back at his school experience as a student, and it's not so easy to do. I took a tour of the medical school campus several months ago. It looks a lot different. Just think of the diagram of the campus now, and I put my thumbprint on what was the medical school back in my day. And it covered more than that medical school entity at the time. But now, and I tried this, I expanded my hand and tried to cover the entire campus. Couldn't cover it all with my open hand. So, President Brown and Karen, who is not here tonight, tough act to follow with John and Aram here, because there has been such explosive and meaningful development at the School of Medicine on all fronts, clinical and scientific. Tough act to follow. So that's changed. What else has changed? The weather. Have you ever experienced anything like this in Boston? I remember 10 feet of snow and a blizzard every day. But today was a spring day. There's something wrong globally. Might be from Washington, who knows? Someone mentioned that earlier. I think he's correct. Other things have not changed. Faculty. Now, there's an elite core of faculty now, maybe better than it was, but I don't know. I remember names like Engelfinger, and this is for the old docs who are here, and Relman and Levinsky and Wilkins and Mescon and Polchi and Geller, on and on, Malamud. I don't want to leave anybody out because you were there also, Aram, and so were you. Junior faculty, Barry. I don't want to give way to the chronology here. And that faculty impressed me for the rest of my life. It made me want to be a good doctor. These were people of intellect and initiative and intuition and integrity all the way. They had an exciting level of exuberance, made teaching a fun experience. And I've tried to use that experience for the rest of my career. And I will continue to try to emulate those figures in my practice. So faculty first. Everything else has changed with the facilities, but the faculty has to be maintained, and it is doing that as far as I can determine. Second point, Elizabeth Flanagan asked me when I was first involved with the Board of Visitors, I'm interested in imaging and lasers and macula and retina and diabetes macular degeneration. What do I consider to be my greatest accomplishment? That's an easy question. Sitting right here in table 4 and to some degree at table 5 is my family. I have 3 children I'm so proud of. And the lady responsible for it, Julie, for 44 years, and my expanded family there. That's it. So I thank the BUAC, Ron and Marcia and Aram and Barry, my dear friends, and wish
our new president the greatest of luck, and I'm going to be around in any way I can to try to help you, because I feel so grateful and indebted to this university.
Congratulations to all of your deserving Alumni Award recipients. You've been great pride to our institution, and we are pleased to have you here with us this evening. Our best wishes for continued success. I'd also like to thank all of the alumni and guests that are here this evening. President and Dr. Brown, trustees and overseers, and university administrators for being part of this evening. We had some fun tonight, and I really enjoyed being here. There are a few people that I find that love Boston University any more than I do. Boston University gave me some of the greatest opportunities in my whole life. I actually gave an engineer who spent 13 years working on making sure he didn't stutter anymore when he did these events, okay, and put him up here in front of the smartest people in the world. What an opportunity. And but yet, being the filler in between people that clearly love Boston University as much as I do, or possibly even more, and then reflect on my own relatively modest accomplishments and look at the accomplishments that they have and what they've done to put Boston University on the map is unbelievably humbling. I'm honored to be here. It was a wonderful evening, and thank all of you for being here.